Good morning, everybody. Morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning. I know it's been iffy. Is there a policy for inclement weather? Your safety is a policy. That's all. We've only in the 14 years had to close down twice, so that's not too bad. But we want you all to be safe. It's a little slick out in the parking lot, so we're going to make sure that gets salted before you leave. I'm very pleased today to see all of you come. We got a good mix here. How many of you are new? Welcome. This is, somebody said a meeting. It's not a meeting. It's very casual, as you'll find out. It's become one big family, so the jokes fly all over the place, as you'll hear. And for the next couple of business breakfasts we have in March is Casey Wilson. We've had Casey here before. Casey's one of the top small business development people outside of Amy in the state of Maryland. And he is absolutely dynamic as far as his topic goes. It's co-opetition. Go figure, okay? So you got to come back in March to hear him, okay? Then in April, we have Jim Thomas. Jim, raise your hand. And Jim's going to talk about stress in the workplace and how to get rid of it, all right? So I want you all here for that, okay? It's going to be a good partnership and a good, speaking engagement. So he'll be here in April. In May is going to be Congressman Andy Harris. So we have him coming up here in May. We got a couple more people, and then in July we have Congressman Chris Van Hollen, thanks to Kurt Hyder, who's going to talk about the veterans and what's going on and what's not going on. So this will be a good one also, and we hope to have this really packed with veterans in here, okay? Okay, Miss Amy. I've got to give pluses to Carroll County government for putting together this small business path, excuse me, as Amy is involved in, and this one-on-one with people, and they assess and they take a look. And this young lady here, I get nothing but compliments on. I know a couple of her bosses are here, but she really does a wonderful job. And she's always a phone call or an email away. So this is Amy Wallace with the Small Business Development Center of Carroll County.
Great. Thank you, Nancy. And my pleasure. Ooh. Are we good? Okay. So I'm Amy Wallace. As Nancy said, I work for the Small Business Development Center in Carroll County. How many people have heard of the Small Business Development Center? Well, that's good. About half of you. That's great. So today I'm here to talk about the resources that we have. I also want to talk a little bit about the Carroll County Business Path. And then some other things I want to talk about is I've been here for about a year now. I started a year ago, and in the past year I've worked with about 200 different clients, and some of the common themes that I've seen over the past year. And I think when you see the themes I'm talking about, you can then go back and see the resources that we have and how you compare them together. So, okay. So let me tell you a little bit about the SPDC for the people who don't know who it is and who we are. I always say SPDC because that's been our name, and that's how I started. But we just changed our name to the SBTDC. We like to make things confusing and hard for the people that we've worked with, but we are now the Small Business Technology and Development Center. And who we are? Well, we are a nonprofit management company. What we do is we help people start businesses, we help them retain their businesses, and we help them grow their businesses. And I work within a network. Our network spans really the nation. And we started in about 1980, and since 1980 we have worked with over 3 million businesses, which is really quite a success. Basically, my location is here in Carroll County. I work on a team that also encompasses Harford County as well as Cecil. So what do? We really stress client education. That is the key. We understand that you might be really great at being a baker, but maybe you don't have the skills, the business skills that you need to move your company forward. So that's what we do. We stress the business education part. The SPDC, I know a lot of times you think you don't really take government and you don't really want to take business and you don't want to mix them together, but the SPDC is the most successful program that our federal government has for small business. And the reason for that is, I think, is how we're uniquely positioned. We sit in the middle. So we have money that comes from the SBA, and we have money that is matched then by Carroll County government. So I thought, hey, this is great. I don't have any bosses. Who are my bosses, right? I work in Carroll County. I kind of work for the feds. I work a little bit for the government. Nobody's going to know what I'm doing, but I quickly realized that I have 200 bosses, and it's the clients that I work with. So the benefit to that to you is that, we work for you at the end of the day. So, and that's one of the reasons I think we're successful. The other reason we are successful is because of the connections that we have in the community. We work with the local government. We work with small businesses. We work with chambers. You name it, we work with them in order to help our small businesses grow. Okay. Let's see. Next slide. All right. So what exactly do we do? If you notice on the table, you will see some little mints that are money mints. And then you also see some Whoppers. And so my goal is to help you limit the number of Whoppers so you can get to the $1 million mint, right? I thought that was funny. I really worked on that one last night. But so what I do is I do one-on-one counseling. And we're confidential. And we are no cost. I used to say free, but we're not technically free. You already paid for us through your tax dollar, so you should come and use us. So one-on-one counseling, well, what does that mean? That means that you come to my office, we sit down and we talk about your business. And we see where you are and where you want to be. And then we'll put the resources together to get you where you really want to be. Through our business counseling, these are the things that we can work on. And I just put down a few because what I think is neat about my job is that these are the things we're really supposed to do, but it ends up being so much more. If you're in small business, you know that small business is personal. People always say that it's not, but sometimes we deal with personal issues with business as well. I mean, businesses can be very hard for marriages and stuff like that. And sometimes we get in these conversations as well as working on financial plans. So, and that's why our counseling is confidential. But anyway, so business education, steps in starting a business. If you've never started a business before, you might not know where to get started. We have a plan for you. We have a step-by-step process. Business plan critiques and development. So if you haven't started a business yet, or you've just started a business, I highly recommend having a business plan. That is step one. If you're already in business and haven't started it, let's start it, and let's start it today, because you need to have that plan to move forward. So I'll give you the templates for a business plan. You start it. You hit a wall. You come back to me. You ask questions, and we'll move forward. Market research, that's my background. Very passionate about marketing. So maybe you want to move your business to Taneytown. Well, let's look at the market in Taneytown and see if it's right for your business. Maybe you want to move it to Westminster. Let's do the same thing. Let's really learn about the market before you start a business or you expand your business. Strategic market planning goes hand in hand with the market research, so we can help you with that as well. The certification and contract procurement is all about government contracting. Is there anybody in here that does government contracting? I know we have a lot of businesses in Carroll County that do. We'll help you with the certification process. We'll help you. We'll help partner you with our sister company, which is PTAP, which are contract specialists. In fact, the person who works in our region with PTAP, she actually has a PhD in government procurement. Didn't know you could get that, but that's what she has. So, and she's also been doing government procurement for many, many years, so she can help you with that as well. And then we'll help you with a financial review. Let's look at your books, let's see where you are, let's see what we can do. And then loan packaging, that's one of, I think, our keys to success, one of our sweet spots, is that we will sit down, we'll help you put the plan together, and we'll help you do projections and work with you to do that. We'll help you meet with the banks and prepare you for a conversation with a bank. There's going to be a lot of questions, and we want you to go in there with the right answers. So we conduct specialized training as well. I'm not saying we cover everything, because we don't. What we do is very specialized. So, for example, last week we had an export conference, and we talked about how to go about exporting. Let's see, a month before we actually had Kurt Heyer, he was there. We did a conference on veteran-owned businesses. So we talked about, a VOB. What do you do? What's the process? What's out there for you? I want to say we are planning right now a conference and training on the new Health Care Act and how that's going to impact small businesses. So look for that, because that's going to be very important. So those are the types of trainings that we do. My favorite thing that we do is group counseling. To me, this is one of the best benefits of the SPDC. We've been holding them over at Carroll Community College, and what we do is we bring about 6 to 8 businesses in. You're all your non-competes type businesses, and you're all at about the same revenue level. So you've all experienced business for a while. You've seen some of the things that have worked, things that don't work, and we talk about what's next. Where do you want to go? And so we work with people to kind of plan their business. And a great way to do that is to get out of the business so you can work on your business. And so that's what this whole class is about. It's a 2-day class. You work, side by side with other business owners. And at the end of the day, it turns out to be I think a very rewarding, great experience for the business owners. Okay. So some of the programs that the SPDC has in place, we have a lot of programs. I could talk to you about our programs and all the resources that are out there probably for a week. And we may not even scratch the surface of everything that is available. But like I said, we had a meeting or a conference this past week on exporting. Does anybody here do exporting or have ever considered it? Okay. I like to say exporting is not that foreign. So, yeah, we do. We're at least trying to be funny, right? So, exporting. So here's some facts that I learned in the past week, just that were amazing to me. Right now, the federal government, the Obama administration has a initiative for exporting. And the reason being is that 95% of growth opportunities are not in the United States, right? 95% is outside of the United States. So you have a market here of 5% growth, 95% elsewhere. So why wouldn't you actually consider, maybe consider, if you want growth, go outside the country, right? So that's one thing that has happened. 2, I always thought that the big exporters were these large companies, right? They have the money, they have the everything else they need to make that happen. Well, I was wrong. 97% of things that are exported out of here are from small businesses, which to me is an amazing number. So that's the second reason I would consider exporting. 3 would be, with the initiative that's in place now, there's going to be a lot of resources available to small business. There's programs in marketing. Look at your marketing materials, making those bilingual. They have programs like that. If you need to travel to another country, there's reimbursement monies that are available. So we actually receive funding from the federal government for this export assistance program, so we can get people moving in the right direction with that. So if you've thought about exporting, give us a call, let us know about it. Let's see what we can do. The other thing I want to mention about exporting is that a lot of times we think of products and just say, all right, well, I don't have a product, I'm a service. I want to tell you, you can export a service just as easy as you can export a product. We have worked with staffing companies. We have worked with web designers. So let you know that as well. The other thing, the USDA has a lot of programs out there. If you are an ag business, if you can take a food and can it, let's try to export it. You know, hay, I mean, there's tons of programs out there. And I kind of think that since we're in Carroll County, we have all this great ag business, you know, there might be some opportunities for growth. All right, number 2, PTAP. PTAP is the program I talked about with the government procurement. They're a sister company. We work with them to help you build your capability statements, get your business plans together, your website together. Always surprised me that the government will buy via websites, you know, just like we do. They Google it, see who you are. So they help you with that. Retail and restaurant management programs. Nancy mentioned Casey Wilson, who will be here next month. If you are a restaurant, if you own a business on Main Street, you need to be here. He can really help you come up with some plans for your business. And strategic growth consulting, that's something I do. If you want to grow your business, but you don't really know where to grow, where to grow, whatever you want to do, we'll sit down and we'll put together a SWOT analysis for you. And we'll look at, you know, where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, where the gaps are, and then figure out how to move forward. And the Technology Assistance Program is a new program that the SPDC has. And the idea behind this is that you work with the University of Maryland to take products that you want to introduce to the market. So they're looking at high-tech, cutting-edge type products. So maybe you need a prototype for that product, or maybe you haven't got a, can't think of the word right now, not a prototype, a patent. They'll help you with that as well. So those are the programs that we have. What I also want to mention about these programs is that if you're interested in them, you can go directly to the people who are in charge of these. But what I found over the past year, it's best if you come to me and I can make sure that everything is set up before you get into the programs. Because if you call PTAP, they'll be like, oh yeah, we can help you do this, but first you need a website. And then you need a business plan, and you need this. And what I like to do is make sure you have all of that, so when you go and you work with them, you can hit the ground running. Some other things that we do, we can be the conduit for you for state resources as well as some of the other federal resources that are out there. We work directly with the SBA guaranteed loan programs. We also do the MBE certifications. We can help you get the paperwork together to know what you need to do. DBED, through the state of Maryland, we work with them as well, and also different state agencies. So if you're looking for a contact, if you don't know who to meet with, we can help you find that person. All right. Carroll County Business Path. Anybody on the path? Yay! No. Okay, so anybody know about the Carroll County Business Path? I know John Wheatman's been doing the tour. But I like to say that we're 5 guides on one path. So Carroll County Business Path started about a year ago. And the idea behind it was that we're going to have these 4 different resources at the time work together to accomplish one goal. So the 5 resources that we have that are partners in this path as of today is Carroll Community College, Economic Development, Carroll County Chamber of Commerce, myself, the SPDC, and the Carroll Tech Council. So all of us we're all different people, we're all different entities, but we come together for one goal, and the goal is to help businesses start, grow, and succeed in Carroll County. Carroll Community College, the Miller Center for Small Business, what they do is they do training. So maybe you need to brush up on some accounting skills, or maybe you're an artist and want to learn the art of business. They can help you with that. I do the one-on-one counseling. Chamber of Commerce is in charge of networking, and we just have our new member, which is the Tech Council. They joined us to do technology mentoring for small business. Carroll Economic Development sits in the middle, and that your contact there is John Wheatman. And what John does is he's a navigator. So if you decide, hey, I'm going to start a business, you go into economic development, and then he says, all right, well, John will say, okay, well, these are the things you need to do. You need to go meet with Amy for counseling. I think you need some training, so let's go over here to Carroll Community College and meet with them. And don't forget networking, because networking is the key to business. You need to meet with the chamber. So 5 guides, 1 path, 1 goal. That's the Carroll County business path. All right. So, like I said, I've been here a year. These are some things that I've seen, some things I just want to talk about, because this is what the SPDC really does. We make you think. We want you to think about your next moves, where you're going. So, the fatal assumption, I think, of anyone and everyone who starts a business, or most people, let's say, is that if you understand the technical work of a business, you understand a business that does the technical work. Any thoughts on that? Let me give you an example. I had a client come in this past week, and he says to me, Amy, I started this business 4 years ago, and I'm not doing very well. My wife is about ready to kick me out because I've only made $20,000 in the last 4 years. He says, but I know everything about this business. He says, I know how to take a design and make it and put it on a shirt and take it to the customer. I said, okay. I said, so I'm talking to him. I said, well, let's kind of take a step back here. You know, what else do you know about the business? And he says, well, you know, I know how to put the stuff together and give it to the customer. And I said, well, okay, that sounds good. But have you ever done the sales of the business? Who are you selling to? Have you ever thought about planning your business, where it's going to go? What about the books? Have you looked at the books? Do you know how to do billing? Do you know how to account for the cost of the business? Well, no, I didn't know that. I don't know how to do that. I said, okay, well, let's take some steps back and figure this out for you so we can get you to where you need to go. And I think what's important here to realize is that when you are a business owner, you wear 3 hats, right? He is wearing the hat of the technician. That's what he knows how to do. But you also have 2 more hats. You have the entrepreneur hat, right? That is thinking about planning for the future, what you're going to do next. You have that spirit to keep going, always thinking there's more out there and you can do more. And then you have the managerial hat. And he was really missing that managerial hat, right? So what we do at the SPDC is we help you with that managerial hat and that entrepreneur hat. So that's one thing that I've noticed a lot of, that if you think you can make the product, you know how to do everything else in the business. And it's 2 different things. Okay. I hate math. I will be the first to tell you. Math is not my subject. Never was, never will be. But this is something else that I see a lot of. No math or no money. And it's very true. So at the top I have 1 + 1 = 2, well, maybe. I don't really know. And often this happens. If you don't know the cost in your business and you do not know if you're making a profit, you probably aren't making a profit. And this happens often. I have people come in and I will tell you, they want to pick me up and throw me because they get so upset, because I'll sit there and say, all right, well, where's your profit? And you know, the more I say, all right, well, where's that number coming from? How did you get to the number? Did you consider this cost? Well, I know what it is. And so I keep poking a little bit more. But it's very true. You need to know your numbers in your business. Decisions are made by numbers. That's it. And if you don't know your numbers, you don't understand your numbers, you're not making good business decisions. The third bullet down here says you have to do accounting. And that's key. Know your limitations, right? I'm not an accountant. Probably wouldn't be a very good one. I can look at books, I can tell you what numbers aren't right, but accounting's not what I would do. If I have my own business, I have an accountant. And the reason for that is that they keep you on a path. They keep you straight. and moving along. If you don't have your accounting practices and your bookkeeping right, you cannot, you can't move forward, because you're really limiting yourself being able to get loans and things along those lines. So just keep that in mind. If you're starting a business, really think about how you're going to manage your books. You know, are you going to do it yourself? If you do it yourself, be sure you become educated on that. If not, you know, consider getting an accountant. Okay. We've heard this one before, over and over and over again. But if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Firm believer in this. Was never very much of a goal person, but a few years ago I kind of changed that around, because this is a very true statement. How can somebody know your vision if you've never been able to really explain it to them? And the best way to explain it to them is have it on paper, right? It's all in your head until it's on paper. So one of the reasons you want to plan is you want people to participate in your vision. Number two, if you don't have a plan, you're really isolating yourself from business resources and capital, right? All these resources I briefly talked about earlier, state, federal, local, you have to have a plan in order to access it. They want to know what you're doing. Banks want to know what you're doing because they want to get paid back. So they want to know that you have a plan. The last one, would you rather rush it or be right? And as I mentioned before, my background's marketing. I have a lot of clients that come in and say, you know, hey, Amy, I've done marketing, I've done advertising for my business, it just doesn't work, right? I think, all right, I know advertising works, I know it does, but maybe why it didn't work for them is because they were advertising in the wrong places, right? So we sit there and talk to them, we take a couple steps back and we say, all right, well, what's your target market? Let's talk about your target market. Who are you really going after here, right? So then once we figure that out, then we're going to move on to, all right, well, what does this target market do? Where do they, where do they hang out? Where do they sleep? Where do they eat? What do they read? What do they respond to? So, would you rather rush it or be right? It costs a lot of money to do marketing and advertising, especially for a small business. That's a big chunk of your money, of your profit. So, be right about it. Do the research, take the time, and plan it out. Okay. And so this is my favorite one, because I think it really does apply to the entrepreneur spirit and what people do. The difference between great people and everyone else is that great people create their lives actively. Everyone else just waits for things to happen, very, very much passive and waiting to see where life takes them. So we can all say the market has not been, economy has not been very good the last couple of years, right? I think we can all agree on that. But what can we do about it? Can we, in our business, can we sit there, can we complain about it and say, oh, there's this horrible, my business isn't doing well? Well, you can do that, but is that going to be beneficial to you? Are you going to just let things happen, or are you going to go find a way around it? And I think what I love about my job that I do today and the entrepreneurs and the people that I work with is that we are the people, you're the people that find the way around it, and the people who are making decisions in their lives and they're being active. So I think this applies to you. Dream. This is what we do best at the SPDC. If out of this long, drawn-out presentation you can't remember anything else, we help people dream again. We really do. We want people, like I said, to step away from their business, stop working in the business, and work on the business. And start back where you started. Everybody started a business, they had this dream, they had a vision, and our goal is just to help people get back to that. So this is my presentation. I have some giveaways, but I guess I should have handed this out first.
Let one of the guys.
So if somebody wants to pass this around, well, maybe we'll do some questions if we have time. Throw your business card in there. I have some books.
You have questions?
Anybody have any questions about what I do, who I am, what we can do, how to get in touch with me?
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I have a business that I've started, right? The name of my website is called uaria.com. And what it is, it's a virtual real estate resource center. And so it's like a soft launch right now. Feedback on it. And so one of the things I'm trying to do right now is start to attract like potential users to the website.
Right.
And so just trying to find out what's a good idea to kind of attract users to the website without being like spam or something like that.
Well,
Is it going this way?
here's some more business cards too.
Good girl.
So he's asking about just started a business, access, getting more people on your website, getting more people, driving people to your website. Website is your question. You know, there's without knowing your business and exactly what you do, and it's very hard to answer that question. I will say we have, you can hire companies that can help you do that. One of the things that I always done to drive people to my website is I do networking, right? And so then I go meet with people, I talk to people, I take their business cards, and then I send them information about me. That's a great way, free way to drive people to a site, starting out. But if you want to talk about it in more detail, we can. Get my card. Yep, I passed them around. So, does anybody else have any questions? One thing I forgot to tell you is that my office is located at Carroll Community College.
Okay, see you guys next month. Be safe. It's just wet out there right now. Thank you for coming.